Hello guys and welcome to the official Dance Mums group rankings for season 3A. I am super excited to get into this. Now you might be wondering, where's my Dance Mum reaction video? Well, unfortunately, I'm on holiday at the moment. So I didn't have enough time to record 4 videos for whilst I'm away, because that was how long I'd be away for. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do some ranking videos. You've been asking me to rank the Dance Mum dances. So I figured across the next 2 Wednesdays, we would be looking at season 3. So we'll do season 3A today, season 3B next week. As you can see, I'm up in my little corner that I do ranking videos in. If you've been watching my other series on my channel, then you'll know that I love a ranking video and I love tier maker. So as you can see on the side of the screen, we've got some different categories. At the bottom, we've got Never Dance Again. Those are for the people and the dances that were just dreadful. Absolutely abysmal. Bottom of the pyramid, they're for the ones that were just bad. Just not great in the slightest. Then we have Every Dance is Replaceable. The forgettable ones. The ones that could be replaced because they were not that interesting. Then we've got You Weren't Horrible. That's good praise from Abby, after all. So they're the ones that were good, but they weren't quite pushing the envelope. And then we've got Applause. Applause is for my favourite dances and the ones that were the best. And then Best Dance is for the one that I consider to be the pinnacle of dancing from this half of the series. Now we've got 16, I think, dances to talk about today. I am super excited and I think that this is going to be really, really cool. So, shall we get into the ranking? I think we shall. So, I've got a piece of paper with me with the names of each of the dances because I had to go through and order them and work out what dance was what. So, they're in order, so I should know exactly what dance I'm talking about. When we did this on a stream for season 1, it was an absolute nightmare trying to work it all out. So, don't worry, I've gone through and I've done my homework. I've also written down my pizzazometer scores for each of them. So, yeah, we'll have some fun going through all of that. But anyway, we are going to start off with Angels and Demons. Now, this got them first place. It's an applause for me. It was a bloody fantastic dance. This was the first group dance of season 3, I think. And honestly, it was absolutely sensational. Not only did we have a new dancer in it, in Ali, we also didn't have Paige and Brooke, which was a shame. But this dance was so unbelievably strong. I remember watching it and just being like, wow, this was sensational. Ali is a fantastic dancer. And I wish that this show wasn't so focused on the mama drama and Abby Lee Miller being an absolutely horrible person. Because it would have been nice to see Ali as a permanent member of the ALDC. She added so much dance-wise to the show when she was there. And I did really, really enjoy her presence, I can't lie. Up next, we have episode 2, which was Cry. Now, I gave this a 7, and this was the second place one, and it was from the replacements. So it's going to go in Every Dance is Replaceable. I don't remember this dance that well, because it had Bella and Ali and Sophia and that other girl whose name I just don't remember. She was a very good dancer, I just don't remember her name. But either way, those 4 people, they just didn't feel like a cohesive group. This was clearly Abby trying to work out whether she could actually get rid of the people in the team. And when they didn't win, she was like, fuck, there's not really much I can do then. I kind of got to stick with it, do you know what I mean? It was a disappointing dance. I don't think it was actually that good. I think a 7. I went back and rewatched bits of it and I was like, they're all good very individually, but there's just no cohesion in this dance and it felt rushed. It felt pushed together. Probably because they only had a matter of a day and a half to do it by the time everybody flew in to be in the number. But it just didn't feel good because this was when everyone was on strike. So not a bit of me, personally. Not a bit of me. But up next, we have Red Carpet Special. I mean, again, it wasn't horrendous. It was kind of forgettable. A lot of the early ones in this series are really, really bad. I mean, we started out so strong with Angels and Demons. And then it was just downhill from there for the next couple of episodes. This was genuinely like just disappointing because we had the whole drama with Mackenzie and the red carpet. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's so long ago since I watched that episode. It was back in November when I watched it. That's how long ago it was. So honestly, I remember that specifically being such a point of contention. It was just so jarring. I just didn't enjoy it that much, I can't lie. But then we had Voyage Home. Now, obviously, at the time, I accidentally put in a video that it was 10 out of 10. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. 3 out of 10 I gave it in my actual review. And it was a 10 on the screen. I looked like a bloody fool. So, yeah, bottom of the pyramid. It was genuinely dreadful. I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't appreciate the sentiment of it. I think a lot of the times when we discuss immigrants, this just didn't feel like what she was trying to portray. I mean, at one point in the episode, even Holly was like, wait, so the immigrants are emigrating home? What is going on here? I'm very confused. The whole dance just didn't really make sense. And I feel like a lot of the time she comes up with this dance and then she like tacks on a story just to make it sort of, ooh, it's about this week. This is the social issue that we're tackling this week. Doesn't always work. And I think this was one of the moments where it felt like a tacked on rubbish idea that didn't really come into fruition. But next up we have Arabian Nights. It was mortifying. It was absolutely mortifying to watch this dance. It was not good. It was not good in the slightest. Not only was it appropriating a dance that these kids should not be doing, let's be putting it that way, plain and simple. But if you are going to do it, at least do it well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't feel reminiscent of Arabian dancing at all. It was absolutely shocking. I didn't love it, and that's why I was disappointed with it. I was really disappointed. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because it was bad. That's why. So yeah, unfortunately, Arabian Nights, not great. But it was then followed with Pink Lemonade. Pink Lemonade, it wasn't horrible. This was the hat dance, okay? I didn't care for the hat dance, I have to be honest. It was good, don't get me wrong, but like I didn't love it. I didn't love it. In hindsight, like I think at the time, I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I have knowing the after effect of it. Because obviously this was the episode where Chloe accidentally dropped her hat during the number. Didn't stop them winning though. Didn't stop them winning. Let's just put that out there. But I just don't think it was as strong as the Candy Apples dance that week. Which, speaking of, the Candy Apples dance is up next. And I would put that in applause. I really did enjoy that Candy Apples dance. That was the first time we saw the boys team that series. And it was really powerful. Like, it was actually a very good dance. And I really wasn't expecting it to be. I really didn't have any faith in them. And then when I watched it on screen, I was like, this is actually quite a good number, you know. So I feel like, on the face of it, Pink Lemonade, it was a decent dance with an interesting concept, but the hats just made it so rigid, and it meant that they couldn't really do much because they were worried about moving and knocking their hat off and Abby screaming at them. It just really stifled their performance a little bit. So I was a little bit disappointed with the performance. But the boys, I thought it was sick. I remember watching this and being like, yeah, this is good. I mean, I gave it a 10 according to my sheet. I went back and looked through the videos and I gave it a 10 out of 10. So I clearly thought it was very good. When I went back and watched little bits of it, this was the first time that we saw Spinny Head Dude, Jaden, when we saw him do his little thing. I think the other people in the team were Lennon, that Donnie that was there for like one episode, and Gino. They were all very good, and they were all very powerful, dramatic performers in such a good routine. Now, next up was Avalanche. Again, I'd put it in You Weren't Horrible. I didn't love it. I'm always one of these people that, like, Abby doesn't like props on stage, but when she puts props on stage, they look awful. Like, they look absolutely awful. Like, she had this, like, table thing, and she was like, this is a mountain. No, it's not. Why haven't you got some kind of budget to make some good props? You could have had a ski slope or something on stage that would have looked like a mountain, but instead it was just this white table from IKEA, and it just looked naff. The outfits, hysterical. And actually, I have to say, the makeup for this routine was really, really strong and was really, really good. So, honestly, it was a good dance, don't get me wrong. That's why it's in You Weren't Horrible, because that's the highest level of praise, according to Abby. But, yeah, I don't know. There was just something missing from it. That little oomph, that little bavavoom. There was just something missing from it that stopped it from being 10 out of 10, because I gave it a 9. And similarly with the, like, sort of the magazine dance that the boys did that episode, with the random girl that kind of just soused on and soused off and did a little bit of dancing with the boys, and that was about it. Again, it was another number that, like, in hindsight, it's forgettable, but, like, it was a good dance. So, like, that's why it's at the end of You Weren't Horrible, because it was a good dance, don't get me wrong, and I did enjoy it. Again, I feel like we were still in this phase where Spinny Head Dude was still kind of cool, and he hadn't outstayed his welcome. And the others were all really, really good as well. The girl was quite good. It did feel a little bit like the token girl was there, which was funny, which usually it's a token boy. But it didn't feel as cohesive as the girls' dance that week. I think I actually put it above the girls' dance, but in hindsight, I would actually probably put it below. No, I gave them both a 9 according to my sheet, so I'm lying to you. But yeah, I think it was a good dance. It wasn't amazing, don't get me wrong, but it was good at the end of the day. So up next we have Money is the Root of All Evil. And again, I'm going to put this probably here. I enjoyed the dance, but when I was rewatching it and I was listening to my notes and I was going, okay, what did I think of this dance? I remember how weirdly mirrored it was. And it's one of those things that, like, I spoke extensively about it in the episode, so I won't bore you with a re-explanation, but I'll just, like, recap. When you have 7 people, you have to have a central person. And I do agree that, like, that central person should be doing their own thing, whilst the other people on the sides are doing mirror stuff, okay? But when you have 7 people and you mirror it 4-3, it looks uneven and it looks messy. And I think that was something that was so jarring about this routine. It was so good and it was so entertaining, but the weird mirroring just stopped it from being great because it just looked odd at times. I think Kendall was in the middle and she's doing turns the same way that the people on the right are, and the people on the left are doing left turns, for example. I don't know whether this was exactly it. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it just looked odd because it creates such an imbalanced picture. And in dance, mirroring is such a powerful device that when you do it and it's uneven, it's so unbelievably noticeable. But they still won with this number, so it was good enough, I guess. So, yeah. Then we have Beautiful Day. Yeah, it was not great. I think at the time I was in the spite of, like, Abby wanted them to improvise and be, like, look like mugs on stage, and they still won. Ha 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 ha. Very funny, Abby. But yeah, this wasn't a great number. I think if they had just actually choreographed it a little bit more, I think it would have been fine. Because it just looked a little bit bare bones. It looked like they'd just come up with it 10 minutes before and gone on stage and done it. Obviously, the group stuff, I assume, was done beforehand, and all of the individual stuff was the improv bit. And, like, the individual stuff was good, but the group stuff was just so basic. And I think that was my major issue with it, is that it just felt basic, and it shouldn't feel basic at the end of the day. It should feel exciting, fresh, new, but it just didn't. And that was upsetting. It's a shame, because I actually think that the girls were trying to do something really lovely for Abby, and she kind of threw it back in their faces even. So she was just being a little bit of a nasty, nasty person then, wasn't she? She just wasn't being particularly lovely. But anyway, it is what it is. Up next was Beautiful Day. No, that was Beautiful Day. I'm looking at the wrong one. This was Your Dream Will Be Your Your dream will be my dream. God, honestly, these names, who comes up with them? Why can't it just be like cute little dance? This was an applause dance. This was really good. This was when they got Nick back in. And I thought that potentially getting Nick back in, a bit of a waste of time. I was like, I don't know. Then I remembered, this is Nick from Twilight. Twilight was one of my favourite numbers. In fact, I still think it's in my top 3 favourite numbers of all time. It was an incredible dance. And Nick was amazing in that. So the fact that they got him back for this was the wedding dance, wasn't it? Amazing. It was sensational. Genuinely sensational. And I really, really enjoyed it personally. I thought it was absolutely sensational. There were so many moments that worked so cohesively. I can't believe it didn't win. I genuinely am mind boggled as to how it didn't win. Genuinely, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked and astonished. But do you know what? Is what it is at the end of the day. You win some, you lose some, is what it is. So yeah, honestly, it's tough because I still think that I preferred Angels versus Demons. Oh, did I? Did I? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, maybe I would put it above Angels versus Demons because I loved Angels versus Demons, but that was mainly because of Ali, whereas I think that was a better group number. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep that there for now. But that does mean that our next dance is Don't Ask, Just Tell. Oh, God. No, that's mean. Let me put that at the bottom, actually, because that was pretty naff, actually. This was pretty bad. This was the hip-hop number. And these girls should neither be hipping nor hopping because it's bad. It's bad. It's bad news bears. We don't like hip-hop in the Abby Lee Dance Company. Unless it's Peyton doing it. And even then, it's just a little bit awkward still because it's choreographed by Abby or Gianna, who are not hip-hop teachers. I'm shocked that they haven't got, like, qualified teachers in all genres of dance. Because in order to be a versatile, well-rounded dancer, you need to do more than just lyrical and contemporary. Like, I'm not being funny. It is a little bit ridiculous. And jazz. Like, you can't just specialise in those 3. You've got to be able to do hip-hop, funk. You've got to be able to do all sorts of dance. So much so that, like, when they do all of those different dances on AUDC, I'm sat there like, why aren't they doing this on AUDC? No, ALDC on Dance Mums. Oh, it's ridiculous. It absolutely pains me. But yeah, this was a particularly bad dance. Oh, it was tough. It was tough to watch is what it was. It was absolutely tough to watch. So yeah, bottom of the pyramid. It wasn't great. Is what it is at the end of the day. But that does bring us to Rosa Parks, which was a bloody good number. A really, really good number. And it's the best dance. It's the best dance for me. Now, I gave it a 9 on my initial one, and that was because Brooke mucked it up. But I'm going to boost it to the best dance of the series because when they redid it, that compared with the original, it didn't have my favourite moment of Maddie walking over Nia's back, which was the most powerful thing I've ever seen on Dance Mums. It was incredible. It told me everything I needed to know, and it was just brilliant. This number, Nia shone. And I've said this before, when Nia is shining, the group is shining. It is sensational to watch her dance because she just brings such joy, such life, such light into the room. And I have to be honest, it's incredible to watch. It really is. She is such a gemstone and she's such a diamond that when she's on stage and she's playing this role of Rosa Parks, which Kendall gave up because of her mum, I just think that this is something that she was born to do. You know when you have those moments where they're like, yeah, this makes sense. Everything is falling into place and this makes sense. And this was exactly what happened when I watched Nia dance in this number. The rest of the group, absolutely fantastic. Apart from Brain having an absolute meltdown mind moment at the end where she was like, I have no idea where I'm going and what I'm doing. Not a clue. And to be honest, we've all been there. Some more than others, but you know what? Fair enough, Brooke. I haven't seen you fumble ever. And to see you fumble slightly there was very, very interesting because I hadn't seen you do that before. So very, very well done for keeping it until season 3, episode 12, until you fumbled for the first time. Even Maddie's fumbled earlier than that. And I haven't included a picture on it, apparently. I must have accidentally skipped over it. But Candy Apple Sauce is up next. No, not Candy Apple Sauce. Candy Apple Style. This was the Gangnam Style thing. It was in the same episode, and it was just overshadowed, unfortunately. I would put it up in applause, personally. I thought it was really, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I would put it at the end, like here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. No, you can't. I'd put it at the end of applause. I don't have a picture for it, sadly. But yeah, it just wasn't amazing. It wasn't... No, it was amazing. What am I talking about? It was really, really good. It was a high energy routine. A lot of choreography. It went on for so long as well. I was like, wow, this number just keeps on going. I was like, the stamina you must have to finish that routine, sensational. Honestly, sensational. And so the last episode video, I am just absolutely waffling right now. The last dance that we're going to talk about in this video is from episode 13. So you might wonder, why have I decided to cut it off this way? I decided to cut it off between Asia joining, because then we can talk about all the numbers in the back half with Asia, and that will make a difference, I think. But this number was Gold Digger, and honestly, this has to go in the applause section. A Fosse number is so hard to pull off, and I really enjoyed the Fosse number. It helped that it wasn't choreographed by Abby. It also helped that she added Mackenzie in, and I felt like Mackenzie added to it, I can't lie. I felt like the movements were sharp. It felt nice to watch. It was nice to see them do a different style of dance well. Probably because they had a choreographer that is used to the Fosse style, which is very, very particular. If it was Abby, she would have been added in like pirouettes. Don't do pirouettes in a Fosse style number. Fosse is meant to be accessible to everybody. It's just about timing, movement, sharpness, and doing it in unison with everybody else. And when you get that effect, it looks incredible. It can look like a ripple across the stage. It's amazing. And they did manage to capture the essence of that. So I really enjoyed it personally. I feel like this first half had some really, really good numbers and some real stinkers. But the second half of this series, yeah, there's going to be some tough dances to discuss, because some of them were really bad. But anyway, that is all we have got time for today. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little filler episode. Apologies, I will be back on it when I get back from Turkey. But thank you guys for bearing with. I will see you guys on Sunday for an episode of Dance Moms. We're going to be reacting to episode 2 of season 4. And then we'll be back next Wednesday with Season 3B rankings. So without much further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.